better team. But in terms of the draft, I actually really liked the way they took the draft. And I would like to see them take first pick if they feel like they're confident.
So you feel like the ability to sit in that first pick and get that outdraft is going to have a higher impact for the one than if they were to move into that second pick with a more calculated plan, controlling the battleground?
Yeah, I mean, I think from all the other, it's a very big contrast from all the other series today. I think the other drafts from the other Chinese teams have been a little bit lackluster.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially with some of the other teams having subs, they haven't been super confident in their own drafting. But I think from this first game, it was very clear they had a plan. I think it actually looked very solid. So I think if they were feeling confident to take a first pick and just let Ballistix have the map, even if it's a Sky Temple, you know, maybe that's not as strong a factor as, you know, having the control of the draft and like being able to, you know, determine the way the game's going to be played.
Well, we did end up, you know, as we see the graphic down below, we do know the battleground not going with the first pick opportunity, but instead it is the Cursed Hollow, which is the favorite battleground for the one. One of their favorite battlegrounds. A very, very high success rate for them, sitting at a 6-1 result. So it puts in a position to where very much home turf, very comfortable, and it feels a little less standard for the Korean regions, which for me, I automatically go, I like this far more than the Sky, and again, the Inferno Shrines, that seems to be some of the more popular here at the Eastern Clash.
When I think about Cursed Hollow and I think about Ballistic strengths is, yes, they have the rotations, but then you start to think about heroes. And for Hanzo on this battleground, it's not exactly the #1 priority in terms of bans, I should say.
Yeah.
But when you look at SC as a player, it's Hanzo, Phoenix, maybe some Tracer, and then whatever else is left over. If he has to play Rainer, yeah, it's not a bad second option. But Hanzo on this map in particular, with Scatter Arrow build, I can tell you that I would not be surprised if that is an early pickup by Ballistix if that is let through.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Hanzo has a very successful history on Cursed Hollow. A lot of teams kind of agreed he ended up breaking the map when he came out. And I think it was a big reason as to why Cursed Hollow disappeared from the competitive meta for such a long time was the presence of that Hanzo and just the amount of control he gave you over the bosses and just the general Merc camp pressure that he would put out literally on his own was just something that no other hero in the game could match at the time.
It feels like he did what like old school Sonya did onto this battleground by himself, but like 5 times faster. It's ridiculous the impact he was able to have as early as minute #1 here. And we do see Ballistix ridding of the Abathur a lot more common when looking at some of the bigger battlegrounds. Cursed Hollow is the one where you get those kind of off skirmishes very frequently, and that is a bit of research here being displayed by Ballistix, not wanting to let the one go to what used to be a bit more comfort from them, what Illidan style play.
So for Ballistix, both Hanzo and Phoenix were let through, so if they feel that something has higher priority, I guess a Jimmy Raynor is going to be more priority than either one of those, which shows that just how much some of those nerfs have impacted Hanzo. You mentioned the Vision nerf, and I think for some people it might be hard to understand how impactful Vision is in competitive scene, because you are strictly reliant mostly on the information that's given, and that radius is huge, and now it's small, and everything about it, the reveal time and everything is so different now.
Yeah, I think the strength of the Sonic Arrow has been very, very decreased. Like, I mean, before it was such a significant part, especially on maps like Dragonshire, Battlefield. Like, Hanzo, not only was he having this, like, huge damage output, you know, you have, you know, the very successful team fighting, the Dragon Arrow engage. On top of that, he had this huge vision tool, and it was, like, so impactful in competitive play. I actually really like the Diablo Phoenix here coming out from the one. Again, I think the one's just good at drafting. That's what I'm learning here. But I think it's a very nice opening. Doesn't all in anything, but the two heroes synergize very well, as we've already seen throughout the clash.
Feels like the bunker's there. Obviously, we know the synergy between Lightning Breath and Salvo, but bunker's kind of that, hey, look, we can't exactly get the stay a while and listen in time, so we drop down bunker, and that's a way to just say, hey, we don't want to be hit by the Salvo. We'll see if that does play in to the draft here. The one, though, does have some more decisions as potentially another damage dealer, but also a tank. And I think for a battleground like this, knowing Ballistix and their experience, Falstad being taken off, there's always the Zeratul factor that shows up at these tournaments.
Yeah, SC's Zeratul has always been a thing of the past. Like, I think even dating back to, you know, his old days as a main melee assassin player, he was even kind of, you know, known for his Zeratul back then. I think the hammer ban is, you know, another, you know, knock to the hammer we've already seen in this tournament. I think it's a nice respect ban. We can't be sure if the one, you know, are ready to play it here on this map, but I think it is nice to take it out on the off chance, you know, that they are prepared to play the hammer, because what Ballistix do have so far wouldn't play too nicely into that hammer comp.
It does seem like this would be a position, though, where I would expect when we talked about SC and whether or not the Hanzo would come to light, now that we made it past the triple ban and second ban phase, Muggle might be willing to pick that up for himself, not going to commit to it here. Muggle, he has 12 games on the Hanzo itself. His next highest played is 6 there on the Phoenix, and it drops very fast beyond that point. It seems like that would be absolutely the place where we see that from them, and a very common selection there, but instead sticking to the realm and willing to give that over to Ballistix if they choose so for themselves.
I mean, I think the one more here is looking for a very flexible draft. They like to keep that last pick very open. This is something we like to do a lot as well in Dignitas, is we like to have, you know, my pick be available as possible. Like, there's a lot of different things they could go into here. They could go into a Kazera tool, they could go into another range, they could go for that Thrall again. Like, it just allows them to be very free with their like final pick and kind of adapt to what Ballistix has gone into, which is surprisingly the Grey main.
Yeah, I mean, first thoughts means obviously Curse Bullet one-shot frontline. I mean, that is the go-to version other than 113 siege capabilities of Greymane on Cursed Hollow. It's easier chances to be able to get that front wall, especially when things like Hammer are being taken off the table. But definitely not the pick I would have expected there. And then we see TheOne look to pick up the Li Ming in their last slot.
I like that. It felt natural. You get the poke, you get the mage damage, you get the burst style control. Wave of Force can kind of control the Garrosh if he comes in there. I think the thing that will be very concerning to me for TheOne is obviously we know the flip combo. We saw certain Diablo players at Western Clash get annihilated by a flip back into some of these blow up comps. In Greymane, you called it. The Curse Bullet, you get the flip back into the Curse Bullet, the potential blow up. But a lot of it comes in the follow up of Magi. He has to make sure and hit that stay a while and listen, has to lock down, because the key thing that is beyond that is what we saw previously and what we continue to see is Yrel. Supplying that armor, making sure Curse Bullet percentage damage. Armor doesn't do anything for that. It's the follow-up damage. And if Yrel can get the jump in to provide that additional armor to maybe keep Diablo alive a little longer, allowing for the rest of the follow-up heals to come in, that might be enough. So I think a lot of it is going to be making sure, and I know Ballistix can very much do this, is executing the full combo, but it really comes down to Magi on one side, and then Yrel on the other, trying to make sure that supplying that armor to potentially keep somebody alive. But Garrosh makes those combos pretty hard to get in and follow.
He does make them very difficult here. And Stitch, do you have any immediate concerns on the laning situation for specifically with the Greymane pickup? If TheOne does not identify fast enough of the laning situation, is that going to be a major problem?
Yeah, I think in the early game, TheOne's going to need to split up a lot and try and identify where this Greymane's going to be. They have good tools to defend. Ero's very fine to defend. Phoenix can defend walls very well. Even Diablo, obviously very strong when they're defending walls. You get the flip over the gate. Could be very, very valuable. But yeah, they're definitely going to split out in the early game. Although they do have the Li Ming, so it could be nice if they maybe send the Li Ming mid or something and have the Li Ming poke towers as well while they're trying to search for this Greymane, because she should be relatively safe. I think the main thing we're looking for this game is it's eventually going to go into this, as you say, Ballistix want to go for this frontline one-shot. Or yeah, so they're trying to take out the Diablo. So I think a lot of the game's going to be focused around like the Garrosh and the Blaze, and whether they can find either the jet propulsion or that Garrosh flip onto the Diablo and try and isolate him away from the Yrel. I think the stay a while listen is like a very interesting call. I think it's probably going to be the way they go. Because if you do manage to get that Diablo alone and then manage to sleep the rest, something Zaylia loves to do. He loves the the classic, you know, sleep everybody else while you focus one person. You know, if they do find good angles, it'll be very interesting to see if they can pull it off.
I'm looking forward to see if they, in fact, do have what it takes to pull it off, or if TheOne is going to be able to hold their own up against Ballistix here with the creative drafting. We're ready for it. Game number 2. Again, Ballistix and TheOne on Cursed Hollow.
In before we get go for the throat, by the way. But TheOne, you know, Diablo on this map, you know, if you can get soul stacked up, obviously W build gives you that capability in these fights. So getting that front line, staying alive is the name of the game. If you get late game, maybe we get the devastating charge out of Hehe and go into that potential combo. Feast on Fear is a good indicator that you could potentially go into that later and get more value.
Could be the direction that they end up moving here.
3, 2,
Excuse me, just got a bit distracted. Their crowd got really excited for a moment. There, caught me off guard. Which, by the way, Jao, you know, not to pull away from the game, but
oh, please do,
awesome
because I want you to address it, man.
It's been an awesome crowd here for a Friday here in South Korea. I did not expect it to be a packed house. Everybody enthusiastic. I mean, half the guys are wearing jerseys of their favorite teams. It's actually insane the amount of support that we end up seeing here. You know, it is, you know, pretty much the home of esports, but it's still incredible to see it kind of come to life.
Dude, the oohs and ahs,
yeah,
good or bad, you know, like they
for
come
both
out.
sides.
Well, the Korean players go down. Like, we can be behind there, and I'm going to try and find a monitor, and I hear the, oh, I'm like, oh, a Korean player didn't make it, you know, and then you get the hype. It's so exciting to be here and to witness this firsthand. But we do have the game underway. Ballistix, obviously, you know, Snitch mentioned it. Can we identify where the Gray Main's going to be? SDE and team, they're actually right dead smack in the middle. We will see if that rotation comes back. We know that in 5 seconds, those siege camps spawn, and you can already see Gray Main making that rotation. Garrosh is going to hold fort in the middle. The lack of rotation, though, by the one,
concerning.
A little surprising.
It's a little concerning here.
There we go.
Phoenix is going to make the transition with the warp over the wall, but what that does do is, if you're going to go for the double camp play over the first shrine, they are significantly behind. Not only because the fact that Phoenix is the one making the rotation late, but it's a 2-man rotation for Ballistix, and Greyman is one of the fastest markers in the game flat out, just off of his raw DPS of Worgen form, which now you see the rotation for Ballistix. They're already starting their Knights at the time frame where Phoenix is, I mean, I'm guessing just now about to finish up his Giants.
Well, I do want to take away one thing that Snitch said that, you know, is always standout. I love to hear his insight on all the small things that you can do, and you know, it is something that the one is executing now. It's identify where the Gray Main is, and if he's top or bottom, then just have Li Ming poke down the wall. Well, conveniently, Li Ming's been able to poke down the significant chunk in that bottom lane, and we know that is the boss lane favorable to the one. So depending on how things go, obviously this is very early and a lot of variables have to come out, but it does give you the opportunity to soften that up, and if you do get a boss, that boss is now empowered by less structures to go through. So something to keep in mind as we do get into the later part of the game if the one is able to execute.
And Jay Hal, I don't mean to sound like a nerd, but I've spent a lot of time looking at how those bosses function with 1 turret, 2 turrets, 1 wave, 2 waves, and the answer is it actually is amazing how fast it increases drastically. Because if you take your opponent's boss, for instance, only 1 turret hurts it. Hold on, talking about getting hit. That's going to be Hooligan with a fat arcane orb there sent out by Li Ming. Great, you know, kind of 4 versus 4 skirmish here. Mogul falling so very low. I'm not sure what clipped him there at the end.
I think he got vision with his Q from Raynor and an auto came over. I'm sitting there trying to watch the particle effects. I'm like, I think that was a Jimmy bullet, and on his way out he said, got him.
See you, nerd. 10 seconds out when we got that first tribute up. Well, with that dominance and that first kill from Ballistix, it's going to be a very crucial moment for the one. We'll see when it comes to transition as Li Ming still kind of matching the Gray Main throughout mid. Hooligan maybe out of position, eating the hammer there from Hugo. Nice slow and peel. So Magi ends up cycling those spells.
Li Ming having to deal with the remnants of mid lane, and I think for Ballistix, they've played around the wave so well. Blaze has the superior wave player in that matchup, so not yet making it over, but the Indomitable Hooligan that's already been used. The roots are going to go down. That's going to be Hooligan, and that is going to be the first kill for the one. A nice combo landing on there to SC as well. The one making things happen right now.
The one making things happen, but it comes at a cost, and I want to highlight that middle lane right now. The tribute was not delayed long enough, so actually it's not that devastating. If one delay had come in that trib and nobody made the rotations, losing that whole wave would have been a very big setback, and the experience gained potentially into that turret in the future is important. And then Blaze gets free damage on the bottom half. Jungha displayed 0 interest into that tribute from beginning to end. That in mind, you know, Hooligan in the initiation was definitely a bit ambitious, but Ballistix is doing a lot to make sure that that essentially is a, you know, nothing lost, nothing gained type circumstance.
Jungha had eyes on leaving. He's like, that's cool that you want to leave, and you know who's not might not be leaving? That's going to be ZJZ, but hey, he's trying to turn it. He's going to get the flip over. The Deckard Cane potions, are they going to be enough? There's going to be the lockdown, the root, and the stun in return. Hooligan able to walk away, but the Muggle might not be so lucky as SC continues to walk in, but the warp out just in time.
SDE, you saw him for a moment there throw the flask over the wall. If that ends up hitting and putting in lethal range, he might be able to pull the trigger to be able to get the kill, but Muggle, excuse me, holds his own here. 11 seconds out from the tribute.
We will see things underway here momentarily, which means the next tribute will also be bottom right. So it's very important to note that rotation because the boss spawns in 5 seconds. So Ballistix will have some ways to play around this map, especially with the experience lead that they've gathered. Depending on how this goes, we'll see if a boss play is made. Maybe they get another pick. They already have the experience control, but hey, trying to make the plays.
Trying to make the plays there, but he's able to get the kite out for a moment. Hugo maybe not able to say the same for himself. Death Propulsion going to land on the 2. Groundbreaker already locking it down and getting the first kill here for Ballistix in the fight. Muggle just getting autoed to death there, dropping the Q. CJC unable to make it out. I mean, this is just an absolute slaughterhouse here. Hey, will end up making it out of that corner, but Ballistix, just the minute that they pulled the trigger, they did not let go of anything and everything. 5 kills to 1, a full level advantage, and more importantly, the boss rotations that we see happening on their behalf, and with that 10 spike, I mean, Ballistix might put this into a very awkward situation. Curse Hollow plays unlike any other battleground, I think, in Heroes of the Storm. It functions at a very weird momentum table, and Ballistix find themselves on debatably the most profitable side of that. And it's more importantly because of the Tribute spawning rotation and the 10 spike that they have. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see ourselves a very early game.
I like this call, though. The one has to deny the potential double boss, because, again, the next Tribute is at the bottom right. This rotation by Garrosh and Blaze already made between Hooligan and Zhang Ha, they've got it snipped out. Good roots go down. I think the one is making the proper play here. They should get on here. They got to make sure to be able to get away, and Hugo's coming in. Hooligan does get the toss back. I don't know if they want to stick around for this with 10s here and a boss coming. They need to get it. They need to get the heck out of Dodge.
But the jet propulsion coming through along with that cursed bullet is enough to be able to get the pick, and hey, unable to kite away there. The boss will be dealt with there. Hey, I agree with you. You know, the decision making on the side of the one to be able to focus onto the boss in the first place, very well done to be able to make that happen. Honestly, I thought Hooligan was going to be able to make that rotation in time. He didn't use Indomitable on the root, but he used it instead in an attempt. I'm guessing that's because he expected to get crowd controlled off the point, but they hold on. It leads to a couple of kills here for Ballistix and another Tribute. Now putting them one away here from Curse.
I posed the question that with Feast on Fear that we might get maybe the Devastating Charge combo with the reset at 16. I also look up at the talents. Level 7, going into basically focused attack, getting the extra damage. It functions as spell damage, so when you get the stun, you get the extra damage through spell damage, which is unique because we only see Diabolical Momentum or the W build to make sure and get the reset on that W when you do land a stun. So I'm a little surprised that we get this, because the sustainability of a Diablo between the 4-7 alone is so incredibly strong that we're seeing more of an offensive style, and I'm not sure where it comes in just yet against this team.
I get what you're saying, because I feel like when you see that adjustment, you automatically go, well, who's going to be the target that you need that bonus extra damage to get the single target one shot that is going to be justified? And with the Sail While and Listen, a lot of the tools on the Garrosh to be able to buy Peel along with the bunker available, it just doesn't seem like that is a realistic approach to these skirmishes. We'll figure out if those auto attacks come to light there for Hey. The rotation up to this Tribute is going to be very smooth there. Curse Bullet already thrown out. Hey set down to 50%. He's going to have to go ahead and heal up, wishing he maybe had that level 7 here. As he starts the channel, going to get interrupted.
Yeah, Hey does have 94 souls and can continue to climb with this build. We'll see how that goes, but they will hold on. This might be the fight that really determines a lot. That siege camp in the bottom, the remnants of that still pushing down. That can give you that 13 spike if you're Ballistix, but here we go. Hey goes in, gets the stun. Indomitable has been used. Follow up by Zhang Ha with that jet propulsion, and now Hugo, he's trying to make plays happen.
Yeah, the lightning breath coming down, but it's not going to have maybe the punch that they necessarily want. Hugo falls very low. Zhang Ha is stunned against the wall there, not going to get the jet propulsion. Sail While Listen's going to come through, and the auto attacks is enough to be able to get the kill onto Urel. Twilight Dream actually goes down there, but the silence is too little too late. ZGG ends up going down here. Muggle is going to be chased down by the members looking for a reset. They're trying to turn it around, but look at that. Hooligan with the 2-man taunt, sending Diablo flying.
I'm trying to figure, I'm like, is that the old man blind? Like, how in the heck did, and then into the fray. He literally tossed Magi over. He's like, get in there, old man. Lock me somebody down, get some type of control. And Ballistix just opened this up. I said, hey, look, this Tribute might be something that you could snowball on. I did not expect this much, but Ballistix starting to turn it up again. They were slow to start in game 1. I don't want to say they were slow to start here, but compared to where they were 2 to 3 minutes ago, it has accelerated very quickly.
I very much agree with you.
This is end potential, by the way.
It absolutely is, especially with the Giants and the catapults, the Giant and the keep on the bottom half. That is going to lead to more minions sieging towards the core here of the one, as we are only creeping the 10-minute mark. Ballistix is worried about the shielding. Hey is going to be the focus as the jet propulsion goes through. Hey is out for another 25 seconds. Muggle trying to kite away. Mang actually eating that cursed bullet. He will end up surviving a little bit longer as Ballistix still doing work there. Ardent Defender ends up dropping. Stay a while and listen. Hugo trying to survive. He will not be able to do so. 2 members drop, and now I think here, J-Hal, Ballistix have it. Yeah, Greymane on the core, and this should be enough. 50% and falling in. It will fall very rapidly as the minions and everything is there for Ballistix to secure a 2-0 victory, leaving a happy hometown crowd here. 1 kill in that game. The one did make some standout plays to me, Dread. It was just after they got that boss to trade out boss, seems like they stayed around a little too long and conceded so much control. They had another chance over that top Tribute.
But Ballistix, they are so incredibly strong here. Just play is made from every member.
I feel like you highlighted a really interesting point that we did have from them in both games 1 and 2. Dominant games, especially when we look at a post-game screenshot of the experience, the kills, and things of the like for Ballistix. But when we look at where they got those advantages and things of the like, it's not the same cadence we normally see from other teams. It felt very hold it, wait, cool your jets. All right, we're going to do this. And just quickly, the game is just over. Is there some justifiable, kind of approach that was the thought process for this team, that teams maybe approach the game like that rather than just taking anything they can get Snitch, or was it just kind of luck here back to back?
I mean, it's kind of curious, right? Because we talk to Ballistix, and they say, we want to focus more on this individual decision-making. We want to be, like, looking at our own plays. And then it feels like both of these games, it's like they wait for the right moment, and then they're perfectly in sync, and they deliver these super, super solid team fights that just execute the one, like, immediately. So it's very interesting to see them like, this is how we're going to improve, we're going to work on this. And it feels like their style is like the complete opposite of what they said. Like, it's so curious to see. But I mean, it's working out, and it looks amazing. They look probably like one of the better teams from today.
I mean, so far, I think that was the cleanest performance we did get, even out of Korea. And I know that's bold saying we had Gen G up against BTG, but if anybody watched game number 2, Gen G got a little hyphy here and there at a couple of moments. So it's nice to be able to see Korea reel it back in. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with the performance that we got there from TheOne, though Ballistix had some of the best, again, the best performance, I feel like, out of all the teams here in day 1.
Well, the thing that we saw in that pregame interview was SC saying, we played Gen G early on. So that was already assuming they were going to take down China, which both teams did accomplish. So looking forward for Ballistix, it is something they said, hey, if we get this win, which they anticipated to, it might be good that they face Gen G early, because they know that Gen G is such a dominant force that even if they lose, they get it out of the way early. But if they win, that is a huge boon for them to move forward in this. So for them, I think that's very strong. It's a good start for them and a very good showing. I agree with you.
Sitch, any last thoughts on that series before we go to the interview?
I mean, I think Ballistix are playing some great Heroes of the Storm, and I mean, I'm very excited to see them come up against Gen G.
See if Hooligan can keep up that Eastern Clash magic. We're going to go ahead and send it over to G Clef and hear from Ballistix.
Hello, we do have SDE from Ballistix, of course, taking a crazy 2-0 dominant win. Let's go with the questions. Welcome, SDE. Congratulations, of course. But how does it feel to play in Korea and having your first win tonight?
우선 축하드리고요. 한국에서 경기를 하고 승리를 거두신 소감이 어떠신지요?
한국에서 이런 국제대회를 하는 게 처음인데 지금 한국에서 리그를 처음 시작해서 첫 경기를 이렇게 성공적으로 마무리한 게 굉장히 기쁘고 좋습니다.
So this is first time to have been an international event in Korea, and I'm really glad to have won the first series of the league.
That was certainly a very dominant fashion match. It was certainly 2-0. And second question though, with you advancing, you'll be facing against Gen G tomorrow in the winners bracket. How do you expect that one to go?
이제 오늘 승리로 인해서 내일 승자조에서 젠지를 상대로 경기를 하는데 결과가 어떻게 될 것 같나요?
사실 결과를 섣불리 예측할 만한 팀이 아니에요. 젠지란 팀이 아무리 뭐 저희가 잘한다고 해도 근데 저희 폼 자체가 지금 많이 떨어져 있다고 생각을 하고 사실 한 수 배운다는 느낌으로 저는 하고 싶어요. 네.
So it's not easy to expect what's going to happen against Gen G, they're a really strong team. And although we are good too, I believe that our form is not up at its best. So we are playing with a mindset that we're trying to learn from them.
Of course, a good mindset. It's best of 5 starting tomorrow, and we do have double elimination, so it's going to be another chance for you. And last question though, we do have all the Chinese teams going down to the losers bracket. Who do you think will actually come out from the losers match today?
이제 패자조에 중국 팀밖에 안 남았는데 그 패자조 중국 4팀 중에 어떤 팀이 이제 승리를 거둘 것 같나요?
아까 젠지랑 하는 경기를 봤는데 BTG 팀이 굉장히 잘하더라고요. 그래서 BTG는 제 생각에 올라오지 않을까 싶고 나머지 3팀은 다 비슷한 것 같은데 제가 개인적으로 CE의 윈드 선수를 되게 좋아해요. 그래서 CE가 올라왔으면 좋겠습니다.
So I watched the game between BTG and Gen G, and I thought BTG's play was quite impressive. So I think they will make it. As for the rest of the 3 teams, I'm not so sure which team, but personally, I'm a friend with meet in CE, so I'm hoping they come up.
Oh yes, thank you again. Thank you again, SDE, for the interview. Good luck with the rest of the tournament starting tomorrow as well. But that's it for the interview with SDE. But we do have losers match coming right up after the short commercial break. So do not go anywhere and stay tuned, guys.